when I decided to get into education. And then having daughters that who have grown up here, but at the same time, a lot of young kids start looking towards their roots, their ancestry, curious about anything about the Philippines. I think that has become even more, evident because of technology. You can practically, during our time, you hear about news from the U.S. From a letter that was probably written a couple of weeks ago, or through a telegram. But nowadays, instant, you hear about what's going on there in real time. And because of how we here have become quite a community that can respond immediately to families back home, it has made a new generation aware of things, and just cannot sit back and say, oh, it's happening, especially in many areas that involve our people. And as an educator, I cannot, I cannot simply just take things sitting down. I guess because I taught, the things I taught as an educator, as a teacher, I begin to see the connection of young kids here and how they feel about the home. And I could only act as a bridge, telling them, I had students, just lately I've been teaching Tagalog. And then a common response of many of the students say, Kuya, I'm neither American nor Filipino. I'm not white, but I'm also not able to speak the language. And I say, don't look at it as a negative kind of thing. Look at it as something that is unique. You are unique. And that's the kind of message I gave out to the last conference of the Filipino American Student Alliance, where I said, you have utak Amerikano, pusong Pilipino. You will, I'm sure a lot of you already are aware that back in the Philippines, your kids in your generation love to speak English and love to do all Western kind of stuff. And it's the opposite happening here. And I see that. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing and putting it even further and say, look, we're a force here in the U.S. You're unique. You look at things in a different way. Think about Maria Ressa, who is also a theater, came into theater, but went to the Philippines, became a journalist, and became the first Nobel Peace Prize journalist.
From the Philippines.
From the Philippines and from America. She's Filipino-American, but she decided to go back to the Philippines, not as a theater artist, but as a journalist. She took her internship when she realized, I could do something here. And that's the kind of, bridging that I feel like I can do my part here, having spent pretty much half of my life back home and half of my life here. The Foundation for Philippine Progress, we kind of found each other after I did retire. And it really, in its fifth year this year, it has been focusing on education, health, and human rights. It has been advocating for the least and most vulnerable folks especially in these times, during the COVID era, years, it has done a lot of medical, help during times of calamities. What is really sad in times of calamities, and that's what we're trying to become proactive, especially among people in the path of typhoons that have become very emphatically strong these recent years. So what is really sad about it's not the typhoon that they succumb to, it's the aftermath, when everything is destroyed and they're waiting for help. There's no water, there's none, and they wait for a long time. So to avert that, we do proactive preparation so that they don't have to wait and be, self-reliant when they have to, go through the aftermath of a typhoon. And those are the things that we do education. We've done aklatan, where our young here begin to know more about our history. We've read Noli Me Tangere, Rizal's Noli Me Tangere, his El Filibusterismo, just to give a sense of what is really the Philippines, because being an educator, history is written by those who sit in power. And we cannot deny the fact that if you do not have your history straightened out, you're going to have a different lens about how things are. And so the foundation has made it one of its objective to make sure that we have the history straightened out first before you start talking about what's happening now. Because, and what you do now is tomorrow's history. And, and I challenge, and the foundation, along with Eloisa here in the space of theater and the arts, that there is now a sense of not only urgency, but a purpose. You just don't do art because you want to do art. You want to do art because, hey, I want to provoke, I want to inspire, I want to do something, because the times are very different. We have a lot of challenges ahead, especially your generation. And so as artists, as educators, like we've discussed earlier, things move forward for a purpose. Not only for a purpose, but for urgent action. We can talk, we can think of ideas, right? But really, the foundation focuses on action. You might not be successful, but who has been successful in their first attempt in any field? And we talk about passion, we talked about heart, we talk about, what's up ahead.
We keep saying this representation matters, and it does. It is happening, even though we still have a long way to go.
The historical significance of Filipinos being here in America. Because the uniqueness of Filipinos is that we are the people who have been colonized. So there's that kind of relationship that doesn't fall among any of the immigrants here. There have been a lot of things that can be said about why we as Filipinos who are here living in the U.S. have every reason to say, once upon a time we were kind of close, and there have been a lot of experience that we were supposed to be close, little brown brothers, kind of thing. And that's a different kind of narrative. It's a different kind of focus when it comes to hearing what we have to say in so many ways, in how we, as two countries, for example, in the current state of things, social, economic, political, cultural, in so many ways, there's so many things as Filipino Americans that we can actually share in this context of the U.S., community. The diaspora of the Filipinos all over the world speaks of that kind of relationship that we've had all these years. So, yeah, there's a lot to speak of as far as being Filipino Americans. Again, I go into the medium of communicating these ideas, the arts, the media, social media, the kind of communication gaps nowadays are very narrow. There are no gaps. In fact, there's so much communication, you don't even know what's right and what's not right, or what's true and what's not true. And that is the challenge. The urgency, the purpose, again, I go back, and our role as Filipino Americans is very, very important.